What's up, guys? I'm Mike from StockedUp. We have an awesome episode for everyone today. The markets finished up about 0.6%, or at least the S&P 500 did. We saw the NASDAQ pull back just a little bit today after the amazing day it had yesterday. In this video, we're going to be explaining how the House passed the stimulus deal and how that's going to affect the markets overall. We're also going to be covering the crazy movement we saw from GameStop today. It had a super volatile day, but overall finished up about 7%. And then we're also going to be talking about the deal between Disney and the NHL, which is pretty important, so make sure to stick around for that. And at the end of the video, we have a $12.8 million trade for this week. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. But with that being said, Tom, what happened in the market today?
Yeah, GameStop was insane, flying from an open around 266 all the way up to 348. But there was even bigger news than that in the markets today whenever the House passed the COVID relief bill. And man, this really made the SPY and really made the overall market do pretty good. And throughout the day, we can see how the market started to go up, which was fantastic to see. And it's starting to really move above that 389 resistance. And that's a very good support, as it proved to be throughout the day today. And I really like the market right now. They passed this bill. There's a lot of information on it. I actually have the article pulled up from CNBC right here. It extends $300 per week jobless aid supplement that sends $1,400 direct payments to people. It extends child tax credit for 1 year. It puts about $20 billion into COVID vaccine manufacturing. So there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. Obviously, there's a whole lot. If you want to go read through it, just go to CNBC, and it's the big main article up on their homepage. But it's just a very good time in the market. And man, like I said, GME moved very parabolically, but the market, with this good news with the bill, overtook that news.
I could not believe GME today. So yesterday it closed right around the $250 level, and then it ran all the way up to basically $350 in the middle of the day. And then within a matter of minutes, this thing came crashing down to $172 and then came all the way back up to around $265. So crazy movement. And what I think is very interesting about this move is yesterday the implied volatility was around 337%, which is pretty high. But today it's around 374%, which is, just crazy. So the main reason I bring this up is because, if you're someone thinking, GME is about to fly up or it's about to tank, and you plan on playing options, you have to be extremely careful because the implied volatility is so high. So it's possible that, you could buy a GME put, GME can fall 20% and you can still lose because, it's just so volatile that the market makers are just, pricing in such a huge move. So overall, I'm just pretty neutral on GME, the movement wise, but really if you're playing any options on GME, you have to be extremely careful.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had people texting me early in the morning and they were like, wow, my GME position's doing good again. And then they texted me later in the day and they were like, not anymore. And I was just, it's just one of those things where you never expect within 10 minutes a stock to drop from, it might have been halted for a little while longer, but 10 minutes of movement going from 348 all the way down to around 220 to 200, 180 even at the lows, but within that 10 minutes. And man, it was really crazy movement. It's just totally unexpected. And even AMC moved pretty parabolically as well, going up early in the morning and then just really tanking off midday. I don't think that they went up quite as much as GME did, but they did end up going down quite a bit in the end, which was not good to see. But they are around the lows and support around $9.50.
Awesome. So I want to talk about something that's pretty important right now because I feel like, because the tech sector did so well over the past year, like it did amazing, right? That not a lot of people look at Dow stocks like Boeing, Goldman Sachs, IBM, Walmart, or, Walgreens or Chevron or Triple M. And everyone's just always focused on Apple, Zoom, Peloton, all these tech stocks, Microsoft. And what we're seeing in the market right now is very interesting. So overall, we saw good news with the stimulus bill today, which is obviously good. But we could see that the NASDAQ was actually down 0.3%. But if we look at the Dow, this thing is up 1.5%. So while everyone's freaking out or, everyone's just watching Apple do nothing basically in Tesla, really, I want everyone to look at some of these Dow stocks. Like, I feel like they get overlooked way too much, especially in the past year. Like Boeing was up around 6.5% today, and it's up even more in after hours. And, even though these Dow stocks normally move a little bit slower than the tech stocks, like you could still make a lot of money off of them. Like some of the weekly options on Boeing this week are up 500% today. So I just wanted to point that out. We are still seeing a rotation out of tech and into value stocks, like a lot of Dow stocks. Some of the most notable ones are Boeing, a lot of the bank stocks, IBM, CAT. Overall, yeah, just definitely check out some of the value stocks. I would say Boeing is definitely one to keep on your radar for right now.
Yeah, I love Boeing. I'm actually averaged in around 207. And over the past couple days, the big analyst, I think it's with CNBC, Jim Cramer's been coming out and saying he loves Boeing for the longer term. That could have had something to do with Boeing going up today. And they also had a new deal today that was reported as well. But it's not a deal that's gonna like make or break Boeing, but it's just awesome to see them getting stuff back going again. And Jim Cramer said that the 787 is coming back online. So that would be awesome if the 787 it just lost all of its problems, and if they find renewed confidence in those 737 max jets, then it should be pretty good, I think, in the longer term. And even some of the airlines might do pretty good. I mean, I know they might not be in the Dow, but some airlines like UAL might even be good to recover up with Boeing, and some of these other stocks they're still kind of rotating back to the upside.
Good stuff. Well, while we're talking about value stocks, Tom, fill us in with what happened with Disney today.
Yeah, Disney, they had a new deal come out with the NHL, and that's pretty interesting. They're going to begin the partnership with the 2021-2022 season per CNBC, and they're going to highlight exclusive coverage of the Stanley Cup final on ABC 4 of the 7 years with the agreement. And they're also going to play some games on ESPN throughout the year. And ESPN's been getting some deals with baseball, with the NHL, and just a few different types of TV deals. And it's always good to see them still going out there. They're not moving much in after hours off of the deal. They are starting to go up a little bit now, but I just think they have so much hype behind them right now that they're not going to move too much off of this news. But it's just another good thing that we see Disney doing, and just Disney's continuing to show us why they're going to be good for the longer term.
Awesome. I love Disney to the upside as long as it could hold this 195 support. I think that could be a pretty strong level. It has definitely bounced off of that level a lot in the past, so I'll definitely have my eyes on it for tomorrow. But with that being said, let's get right into our momentum plays and our Discord member of the day. Today's member of the day is Aldo0814. So he is the most active member within the Discord chat. In the past 14 days, he posted 7,473 messages, and the next closest person was only around 5,000. So huge shout out to Aldo. Like I said, one of the most active members in the chat. Huge shout out to you, and thank you for everything you do to help the chat. But with that being said, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. Tom, you already know what the first one is: Boeing.
Yep, Boeing did amazing today. Make them really break above the key level around 247. If we go intraday and we go back quite a few days, they had a pretty good high, but in after hours, they ended up hitting 250.21. So make them break that.
And Boeing is one of those runners. So I was actually eyeing it for the past couple days. But if you look at Boeing, I want to say on, what is that, March 23rd. Then you also look at it on June 1st. And then again on November 9th. When it has momentum, this thing can run for a couple days to a couple weeks. So definitely keep your eyes on that. With the next one, we have a GM, which is also looking pretty good.
Yep, GM. Let me get back on the intraday chart here, but they are around all-time highs, which is pretty interesting here. Make them break above 50, let's just say 57 tomorrow, and watch for a resistance around 58.80.
Sounds good. With the next one, we have C, which is Citigroup.
Yep, Citigroup, make them pop above 74.
All right, so we are eyeing all of these plays for potential day trades tomorrow, only if they can break above the levels Tom listed. But with that being said, let's get right into our $12.8 million trade for this week. So we saw that there was a ton of money put into GME 800 strike calls that expire this Friday, March 12th. So overall, I am definitely going to say that they are short these options unless they just know some crazy crazy news slash like information. Basically, they're making the bet that GME will be above $800 by Friday, which I don't think that's likely. So I'm gonna have to say that they are shorting these calls so that they would profit if GME is below $800 by Friday. So if that sounds pretty confusing, basically it looks like they shorted these call options and they are looking to take advantage of just the high implied volatility, like we talked about earlier in the video on GME.
Yeah, and if they did short them, I feel bad for the people who bought those options. That's insane. $800 you said. Wow, that's really far out of the money. Just definitely watch out for GME tomorrow. It was a big mover today. It could easily keep going up, but given the way it moved down in the middle of the day, I'm not sure that's going to happen, especially with the stimulus deal and all of that news coming out. I think that this might hurt GME even more as people try to get into some regular stocks or more into those value stocks we talked about like Boeing and stuff like that.
I mean, it's literally like hard for me to believe how expensive these GME options are. Like, we're literally talking about the 800 strike option when the stock is at $262, and then this option expires in 2 days. So, like, that's just crazy, like how expensive they are. It just goes to show you, what high implied volatilities can do to options pricing. It'll be really hard for anyone who has calls to win on this if if it has like a lot of choppy movement. So overall, GME is extremely volatile and it's done some crazy things in the past. So it's definitely possible to see some crazy movement and of course some crazy gains or losses from this play. But with that being said, let's get right into our questions from the previous episode. With the first question, we have C saying, "Hey Mike and Tom, I gain a lot of insight from your videos. I would really like to know what you guys think of Square and what is a good entry point." So let's take a look. I know Square is a pretty nice part of the ARKK ETF, which is good to see. Square actually pulled back a lot lately. It actually hit highs right around 283, pulled all the way back down to 200, which is a pretty big support. Right now it's sitting right around 227. I really like shares at 200. I think that could be great. But if you're a huge fan of it for the long term, you could always dollar cost average.
Yeah, they're a pretty great company, and they have a lot of good things like Cash App and stuff like that. They could definitely do better for the longer term, but they could keep pulling back as well. So I'd like Mike said, definitely try to get them somewhere around 200 if you can.
Awesome. With the next question, we have French saying, "Watch out for PSTH this week." So this looks like it's actually doing pretty good. It actually had lows of around $21.50, ran all the way up to 34. Right now, it's sitting right around 27. Overall, it's trending up pretty nicely. Do you have any levels or anything like that for us?
Yeah, there's a pretty good intraday support around $26. If it can hold 26, watch out. There's a good resistance around 27.50, which it hit today and then ended up falling down. So watch for a support around 26 and a resistance around 27.50.
Awesome. With the next comment, we have Taylor saying, "I got into long-term shares of Tesla at $560 each." So Taylor sniped that position. I mean, it would have been hard to get a better price on Tesla in the past couple weeks. I mean, that was he got in pretty much right at low. So awesome job, Taylor. Tom, what are you thinking of Tesla?
Yeah, that's an amazing pickup by Taylor. I even called him out in the Discord chat today about it. That was an amazing pickup, but I love it off this 560 support as well. Intraday, I really think it's on the 1,000 SMA here, and it's also coiling on the 100. So I think it could bounce possibly through here, through $700, and start to head up tomorrow. It looks like it's really starting to recover. Today was red, but it did end up going a little higher than yesterday. I will say though that just given the movement, it could definitely still come back down. But with the stimulus passing and everything, and it going to Joe Biden, whenever he signs off on that, that could give a big boost to a lot of stocks. And I think Tesla will be part of that boost.
Awesome. With the next question, we have Rich saying, "I've been playing MARA and writing covered calls 2 to 3 weeks out and collecting decent income. What determines a good stock to play covered calls on?" So great question here. And the most important thing is you have to like the stock for the long term. No matter how good, like how high implied volatility is, if you're playing some penny stock that the stock might fall 50%, then it's just not worth it. So the first criteria is you want to make sure that you like the stock for the long term. Make sure it's a solid company. From that point, In general, it's better to have higher implied volatility because you'll get a lot more money for when you write those covered calls. So, for example, we can see that MARA has a 200% implied volatility. You're getting some amazing premiums on this. But if you look at a stock like, let's say here, let me try and find one that's pretty comparable. So, like, let's say we go to KO, right? Right now, it's sitting right around $51. Yeah, so if we go to KO, it's sitting right around $51. The implied volatility is 24%. So a weekly at the money call will only cost around $50. But if you go to MARA and you look at a weekly at the money call, it'll cost over 200. You know what I mean? And MARA has a lower price than KO shares. So overall, you want to make sure you like the stock for the long term, and a higher implied volatility is just kind of a bonus to get some higher premiums. Some covered call setups that I like, Tesla, NEO, DraftKings, and Peloton are some of my favorites. Do you have any ones, Tom?
Yeah, and all those are pretty good. Really, anything with the high implied volatility. RKT could also be pretty good with its volatility going up. Obviously, GME is going to be a killer as well. With me, it's just for me, I prefer to sell puts, but obviously, selling covered calls is another great thing to do if you have shares already of the company. And preferably, I like to do it with stocks like AMD and ones like that. Ones that I like for the longer term that I already have shares of, rather than getting stocks like RKT and trying it.
Gotcha. So, like I said, number one, make sure you like the stock for the long term. But overall, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or any insight for the market for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the big stock to watch is Boeing. I think this is a big mover. It's breaking above the resistance around 245. It's just a fantastic stock. Lots of good things going for it. Lots of momentum. Like you said in the past, it can definitely keep going up whenever it has these big green days like it does. Plus 6%. Lockheed Martin could also do good in the shorter term if Boeing starts to pop as well. I think that they're just two great stocks, and Boeing is just a big mover. Just make it break above its high, and then it could just keep running. And just like we said in our daily in our momentum play, just go ahead and make it break above that level 250.21, and then it could keep running for sure. And just be very careful because Boeing could always fall back and be very volatile. So I would recommend taking profits pretty quickly if you get into a big move.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, you can click the first link in the description down below. We had a solid trade with CCIV today. We were in calls pretty close to open. We were in calls for around $216, and we scaled out at around 251 and 284. So click the first link in the description down below if you want to trade with us. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But other than that, thanks for watching.